And welcome to the Ice Tea and Meme Show with your host, NoLdAwG. I got my iced tea here. I got my meme book. We got a good guest, so stay with us. We'll be right back with the Ice Tea and Meme Show hosted by NoLdAwG.
Welcome back to the show. Thanksgiving was last week, as millions of people across the country were celebrating this holiday with eating thousands of pounds worth of turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, vegetables, bread, and desserts. Were vegetarians and vegans eating this holiday season, you ask? They were eating the excess lawn clippings and anything else found after your dad maintained the lawn. Although it was funny when I wrote it. This holiday season, though, is one like no other, as COVID shows no signs of stopping, causing a real stranglehold on the economy and family plans for traveling this Thanksgiving and Christmas season. What shows no sign of pandemic is the incredible sales of the new Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, as many people are finding it hard to purchase one. When one has purchased one, Xbox Series X users have found out and been accustomed to smoke coming out of the top of the device. This has been causing more outrage and anger, more anger than TikTok people wondering why they haven't generated enough views yet to move up to California. And when I wrote that and said to myself properly, I thought it was hysterical. Before the Thanksgiving season, though, and weekend, it was announced that Apple would be strictly reserving the Peanut series movies to the streaming service of their own. This caused enough confrontation and notice that Apple decided to bring the syndication on public television for this holiday season only. I guess we weren't the only people getting Charlie Brown this Thanksgiving. To the political scene we go. It was news to me and news to everyone, I'm sure, that Senator Dianne Feinstein, the senator from California, resigned from being the ranking Democratic member from the Senate Judiciary Committee, stating, "I want to spend more time on issues like global warming and the economic crisis in my state of California." This surprised me, seeing that the 87-year-old senator wanted to focus more on these issues late into the game, rather than wondering if she's going to have to start using depends soon. Like I said with the first joke, I thought this was funny when I wrote it. Another yet predictable news, President Trump has still yet to concede the election, citing continuous election fraud, need to recount, and still allowing his crazy dripping vampire to lose in court for him. In prior elections, the losing party would congratulate the winning party and offer any sort of help they can. For Trump, conceding means playing at his golf courses and going on Fox News to still produce more conspiracy theories about the election. What boggles my mind about this election is not that Trump and his Giuliani legal team have gone 131 in court and that they still think they can win this year, but the fact that if Trump were to run in 2024, which looks likely, that they would have a chance of winning. Yes, and the Cleveland Browns have the same amount of chance of winning a Super Bowl in the next few years. No matter how many Republicans and key voters Trump corrupts, and no matter how many mediocre players the Browns sign, there's no way in hell that both sides win their highest honor in respected fields. But after the last 4 years, I don't think there's that much respect left in the U.S. presidency with Trump being here, with other countries and other dignitaries. You know, it's known that Trump is a significant and heavy bragger. This most recent popular one is bringing back Big 12 football, which is, I guess, some big of a deal. I can get right to you 3 things about that. 1, Trump can't name a single fucking team in the Big 12 conference. 2, he doesn't even know why it's called the Big 12 conference. And 3, his fans and those players and coaches of that conference watch more of him on Fox News and his friends than he watches of the Big 12 conference football on Saturday mornings, afternoons, and nights. And the thing is, it's not like it wasn't going to happen, because most of those people who play in that conference and coach in that conference are play in areas where it's a hoax. The COVID isn't real. It's not as serious, not as deadly, or it's something created by the Do Nothing Democrats. And the thing is, if Trump offered it, any of those people would uncoil his slinky any day of the week. Hey, I got a political question for you. What does Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Susan Collins, senator from Maine, have in common? They both sound like their vote cords have been macheted by wood chippers. The thing is, when I first saw a video of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I thought he was crying. And no, not because his nephew Joe Kennedy III got destroyed in the Senate race for Massachusetts against Ed Markey, but I just thought he was still crying. I thought he just was crying for something. It was reported, though, that Joe Biden had suffered a hairline fracture whilst playing with his German Shepherd dog, Major, resulting in him needing to wear a boot for the foreseeable future, resulting in him probably needing to wear it at the inauguration, which we know for a fact Trump definitely is going to be there. Even though if he is wearing a boot, Joe Biden still would be able to walk better down a ramp than Trump ever could. to the entertainment world we go. It was announced that Johnny Depp would be stepping down as his role as Grindelwald in the Harry Potter films spin-off film series Fantastic Beasts in the third film. Fans of Depp's were outraged by this, resulting in 1.5 collected signatures wanting Amber Heard to be dropped from Aquaman 2. There were also 150,000 signatures collected from fans of Depp, allowing him to stay in the film. Unfortunately, that did not happen, as Depp would leave the role. Fortunately, though, for Depp, he signed a big Hollywood contract, one of those typical ones where even if he films only one scene, he still gets about $10 million, which was the case. Warner Bros. In the end went different directions, and they said, fuck it, we'll sign someone equally as creepy and weird as him, being the actor Mads Mikkelsen. In sports news we go. It's been reported that there seems to be hostility brewing in Tampa Bay as the Buccaneers head coach, Bruce Arians, is beginning to be angry and uncomfortable, I should say, or you could say that, with Tom Brady and the lack of results he is producing with this team after bringing in hand-picked players for him to use. Saying that is the equivalent of one of Hitler's lieutenants saying, hey, Adolf, don't you think that's enough killing, for today? Next thing you know, that lieutenant is 6 feet under and not have a job. I'm not saying that, Tom Brady will kill Bruce Arians, but, what Tom Brady says goes, and he's basically a diplomatic immunity, and that he's got a better chance of keeping his job in Tampa Bay than Bruce Arians does. In a more positive sports story, this past Saturday was the first for college football as Vanderbilt University became the first Power 5 conference to have a woman playing a football game, as Sarah Fuller delivered the opening kickoff of the second half in their game against the Missouri Tigers. People across the country, were praising this rare and overdue feat across social media, although there were some people who weren't fans of it. Some people was considered first, while others was considered a fucking blowout, as Missouri would beat Vanderbilt 41-0. After the game, Vanderbilt's head coach, Derek Mason, was fired after starting the season 0-8. But the Vanderbilt Commodores weren't the only team of first this past weekend, as the Denver Broncos were without any of their four quarterbacks due to COVID issues against the New Orleans Saints this past Sunday, as they had to call up practice squad wide receiver Kenal Hinton to start quarterback. Hinton, who barely had any significant playing time at Wake Forest as quarterback, was called up by the Broncos practice squad after being converted to wide receiver at the beginning of the season. Hinton would go 1 for 3 in passing attempts, 19 yards, and 2 interceptions. Like Sarah Fuller, people were praising his performance and stepping up to the plate this past weekend about his performance. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but if an actual QB for an actually decent team, unlike the Denver Broncos, had this stat line, they'd be memed, instantly ridiculed, and benched for the following week. That's like giving Oscar Pistorius thunderous applause for completing a race against non-amputee people and giving him awards and honors. Oh wait, that happened. That was funny when I wrote it. And finally, the last story this past weekend was about the big fights this weekend. No, it wasn't the fight between the D'Amelias and trying to get back their old fans on TikTok, but between Jake Bad Boy Paul versus Nate Robinson, and the main event, Iron Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. Jake Paul would viciously knock out Nate Robinson faster than him taking down his hiking through a Japanese forest video YouTube, resulting in Nate Robinson becoming an instant meme. But what's causing the most uproar is the real-life version of the 2013 film Grudge match between Tyson and Jones Jr., so it would end in a draw. Even though most fans who watched the fight knew Tyson won by a fucking landslide. Personally, I thought if Tyson, maybe bit off his ear, if Jones Jr.'s ear, there would be a distinct winner. No dispute there. But that was the old Mike Tyson, and this is a new, more at peace with his inner self Mike Tyson. Do you honestly believe him saying that? For Christ's sakes, did you hear what he said while training for the fight? He said, and I quote, "The gods of war have awakened me, I'm back." And what normal and calm man says that? And of all the things to say, you say that? What is he, being fucking exercised by Mole Ram and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? Like, jeez, calm down, Mike. Just go back to smoking weed and talk about how much you've changed over the last 20 plus years. That man is let's get something straight. That man is 1 second away from biting someone else's ear off and permanently knocking someone out with his fists. Stay with us. We'll be right back with our guest, Rob Cruz.
Rob, he can hear me finally. Jesus H. Christ. Do I must have not done my stupid fucking ass. Didn't press join computer audio, so that must have been what the fuck happened. But of course, I'm a fucking for doing any of this bullshit.
All right, good. How's my audio on your end?
Oh, your audio is perfect. Your audio is great. It's suspenseful. No one knows who you are. It's great.
All right, I'll stay on my phone then.
Yeah, no, it's working fine. But no, well, welcome to yours truly show. I named it the infamous Ice Tea and Meme Show for my love of Ice Tea and memes. I love myself a good old fashioned fucking edgy meme, and Ice Tea, whether it's from Applebee's Heaven, which we'll get to later, or Briss, whatever it may be. But this is great. Thank you for being the very first guest on my show.
It's an honor to be here.
Oh, it's gonna skyrocket not just myself into immaculate fame, but you as well. They're gonna years from now when I get that Joe Rogan fucking Spotify money, they're like, God damn, this guy Rob Cruz was the first guest. He's something. Where this is gonna go in the history books.
Yes, sir.
But no, I had to have when I was putting this together because I tried this before and I called it the Shooting the Breeze with NoLdAwG or the big guy, and I created a logo with who's the fat fuck from SpongeBob who said scale no pickles? Bubble Bass.
Bubble Bass.
Yes, I put Bubble Bass on there with a nice yellow square and blue background. That was great, but I was burning myself out because I was doing it every day and the content was stale. So I quit after about 6 episodes. But this, I planned it out. I got my list of who I want to come on. I wrote some material for the intro that I'll be putting together later, and I listed down. So I think this is gonna be good. But I got a lot to discuss with you to be on here. So let's begin. But like I said though, I chose you to be on here solely for the fact of our dear close friendship, working together, our love for memes and seeing the edgy side of life and stuff. So like I said, it's an honor for you to be able to be on here and for you to want to be on here. So thank you once again.
Of course, I'm happy to be the first one.
What I wanted to get into is how we first met. Do you remember how that happened? Was it kind of? I feel like as though it was like one of the many students in high school who, I mean, obviously I knew you from middle school at where I think it was. Did you go to Broad Rock or was it just Curtis Corner?
I moved here and I just went to Curtis Corner.
So I'm sure. So did you move here did you go to 7th grade at Curtis Corner or just 8th grade or both?
Seventh and 8th.
So I'm sure I knew of you in 8th grade and when I was in 7th grade, but I was a fucking student not knowing whatever was going on. But I was dealing with Brandon Austin trying not to break into my locker and Daryl Reels. But no, so I must have been high school because I think in high school, all the students who are pals with your father and dapping them up by the cafeteria entrance. I think after time we shared a liking for the NBA and football and whatever it may be, and we started getting together. And then the glorious times happened where we started working together. And at first it was a little different and interesting because you were working with the older kids, and I think with working there, you automatically start having a bond, and we started connecting. And then the year after, we worked together, and that was one of the most glorious times of my life. That summer we worked together.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
And why did you want to work? I mean, there was obviously many other jobs that were better paying for someone in high school. But why did you want to join the sinking ship that was the Discovery Camp?
So I remember this really specifically. So it was probably January of 2018, and I was at school with Ryan in the library. He goes, "Yo, I think I want to be a camp counselor," and I was like, well, shit, I might want to be one too. Let's work together. And then we both applied, and that kind of took off from where we were then.
And the rat started fleeing the ship soon after that. That spawned many great things like making fun of Cody and Applebee's 2 for $27, or it was 2 for $20, then 2 for $22. Then they fucking jacked it up like inflation with 2 for $25 and 2 for $27, and the memes and Sam Allen and I took your picture, and that just was a glorious time for both of us because there were so many funny things. But and we always shoot the shit, which is why I love you, Rob, dearly more than a lot of other people, because we always shoot the shit about work, and it's always great. Even this past year, even when you weren't here at the camp and you were at Charlestown, we were still able to shoot the shit, and you were still able to get what we were saying with new stuff, and it was interesting. But I think one of my favorite stories was with Luke Chaplin. The picture on her story.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Remind remind me and the people watching what was said on the picture.
Oh god, I don't know if I want to.
Oh come on,
I
who
don't.
cares?
It was something along the lines of like, oh my god, what was it?
I think it was yo pussy hairy and it stinks. Oh, it was green. It was something.
That's
But
what.
I was bawling our eyes out. And of course, we were at a meeting, I think, with Tracy at the time with something before she
Oh,
was
like
bringing her giant gallon jug of diabetic Reese's candy. It
that
was
was
just,
the worst time to be shown that photo. Absolutely the
oh
worst
yes, I know,
time.
like ask whatever it was, like the instant or anonymous messages right before that shit blasted off for needy people that have attention on Snapchat. But no, it was
Oh my
just
god, yeah.
it was just I just she was so awful at it. And no offense to her, I don't know if she'll be watching because most people just skip through my stories when I post it and I don't follow her and she doesn't follow me anymore. But she was just such an interesting person, and coming for a father who was a cop, and just it was anyways, I don't want to dog her when she's not here to defend herself, but it was such a great time, and there were so many great memories, and antagonizing Ariana and Tess trying to run away and bringing her fucking gerbil in a ball like it was the Bolt movie to camp, thinking that was normal, and it was Cody the conch shell, and then when the rat is all out, Rachel, those are some high times, some of my greatest memories that I enjoy.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of good ones.
And
A lot of
there's
good ones at that camp.
there's a lot of good ones, and there are also a lot of not so fun ones as well, with always being watched, and our loyal our Royal Highness herself always making a big deal about things and watching us until we mess up and then jumping on top of us like wild ravaged dogs. But it was always a good experience for me, and I always enjoyed working. So that was always great. All those field trips, especially I think my favorite field trip though, besides Spring Lake and always having to go into the beach with you and get gurgling all that wonderful salt water. But I think the best was though we went to airsoft in Wakefield, and
Oh
we
my
teamed up
god.
against all the kids, and we were hiding behind the walls like it was storming the beaches of Normandy, and we were bullets and whatever that girl's name was, not Ariana, but you got the blonde hair. Where no, it was Ariana, because you went up inside that little building area and you said sorry, Ariana, and you clipped her right in the face, and she started wailing like she was Jimi Hendrix on guitar.
Oh my god, yeah, I felt so bad for that because I wasn't trying to like shoot her
Yeah.
necessarily, but she kind of freaked out and I felt really bad after that.
But no, because I remember every now and then when I see the video, and I know you took one on your story, but when we hide behind that alcove in the back, and I'm just picking up bullet after bullet, and just it was great. But what I also want to talk about is Applebee's, the historic Applebee's, a place that we started going to through work. We first started going was me, you, Ryan, and Leah. And then we started going to that weekly and once a week, once every other week. And what for the viewers to know, why is there such amazement and love and passion for us and myself to Applebee's? What is so interesting about that place?
I don't know. It feels like it's a staple in South Kingstown,
Yeah.
Like, high school, it was like McDonald's, like everyone meet at
Yeah.
McDonald's. I feel like it's one of those kind of
Yeah.
things where it's like, yo, let's like all just go to Applebee's and hang out.
Yeah, and I mean, like it's just it's not like the food's like out of this world. It's decent food, regular food, and it's one of the only few things that has survived forever in the commons. But the service isn't too bad. But the thing of them all, Rob, and you know what it is. Tell them what the two best things at Applebee's is.
The 2 for $27 and the boneless wings.
The boneless wings. You can either get the 4 cheese mac and cheese, but NoLdAwG always gets the riblets, the
Yes,
honey
sir.
barbecue riblets. Never finishes them. But no, it's just, and I love that because it's the only thing I go there, and everyone else, a lot of people, change what it is, but I always got that because I'm a loyal customer. And I think the highlight was the last time we went all together to Applebee's, was when this past summer when I wanted to get the 2 for $27 or 2 for $22, whatever it was, and no one wanted to get it. So sad boy hours, and I got an order of riblets an order of buffalo chicken tenders with the sauce, and then boneless wings on top of that, and everyone was like, I don't know, they were amazed, like they saw some ape get out of the cage, like, and it was unbelievable.
Oh my God, yeah. The same thing actually happened to me a couple years back. I was starving, so I was like, I'm just gonna get like two meals. It was like the classic burger or something like that, and then like the four cheese mac or whatever. And I ate both of them entirely. And the waiter comes back and goes, "Wow, like that's actually pretty impressive that you did that." And I was literally like on the verge of throwing up.
You're in the throes of acting like you're the over confusion like Cody after you
Yeah.
gorge all that meal. I remember also last time we were there, and even though we were talking to Uncle Ruckus and that his
Oh
show,
God.
we were constantly trying to get them to change to the NBA bubble playoffs for Miami Heat, and they always have, for some reason, they always have some quality stuff on, but not. But speaking of NBA, what do you make of the NBA free agency with teams? I forget who it was. Was it? It was Gordon Hayward, yours truly, signing 120. What was it, $120 million for 4 years?
Yep.
What do you think of that contract, Rob?
Uh, I mean, good for his agent because I mean, his agent definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame for getting that. But mm, I wouldn't have paid him that much. I wouldn't have, to be honest. And it's unfortunate because he came to the Celtics thinking, he's going to be that one or two guy, and the injury happened, which gave room for Tatum and Brown to grow, which ultimately he had to take the back seat on. And he's kind of put himself in a place where he keeps getting injury prone, and ultimately,
Do you see his time though? So what I'm getting from this is that you don't see his time there as productive or really beneficial for himself or both sides.
no, contract wise, no. I mean, he was a great help with like veteran leadership, but the money we were paying him and the stats he was putting up, doesn't really line up. But like I said, it's not his fault because the injury took place, which gave time for Tatum and Brown to really grow. And then it was a move that we probably all saw coming.
Well, it's you always see in the NBA, you see a lot of mediocre, shitty players get these massive contracts. You see that with why am I forgetting his name for you see that for Houston when they signed Ryan Henderson and the other guy who's still on the team. Why am I forgetting my own team? Who's the guy that shoots the three who's bald on Houston?
Uh, Not PJ Tucker.
No.
What's his face? Eric Gordon.
Yeah, Eric Gordon. You see, like those two players got signed to a massive deal, and they haven't. Ryan Anderson did nothing for the team, and Eric Gordon's hasn't done a whole lot besides shoot the ball. But I always wonder why a lot of these players get these big contracts when they're not the LeBron James or Anthony Davis or Giannis of the league.
Yeah, I think it's because they play a big role, like a role player
Yeah.
essentially. So they just want to kind of keep him around, or like to cater to the all-star player like James Harden, who kind of fits well and that they're used to playing with.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you've seen it to a certain degree. Then again, I don't know, but Atlanta's been signing some players to help round out their team. They signed Danilo Gallinari. They signed what else did they sign?
Rondo,
and they still got Clint. They got
Bogdanovich from
yes,
Kings.
and they got they still have, why am I forgetting that guy who Uri beat
Trae
Young, and they got John Collins. They're a well-rounded team that I think might make the step up, but I mean, who knows? It's an interesting step up, but
I don't
free
think it'll be
is
enough.
always weird, and it'll be interesting this year with the sudden, so quickly new NBA season coming in a few weeks, which is right around the corner.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But what else? Oh, what are your thoughts about Denver, the Broncos switching to the NFL with their practice squad wide receiver coming to the game to get a shellacking by the
Oh
Saints?
God. All I'm saying is I made sure in fantasy this week I put all my Saints players in that lineup. I take advantage of that easily. I knew it was going to be a giant shit show. So
I mean,
I mean,
granted, the Saints are a great team, and they're always a good team until they choke in the playoffs.
oh
But
god, yeah.
it's shame on the Denver Broncos for not having any one of their fucking 4 quarterbacks to be able to play, and they have to get a practice squad player who switched to wide receiver, who's converted to wide receiver, and then hadn't played any real college football at quarterback. I mean, what are you thinking, Vic Fangio? Like, I don't get it.
I don't understand it either. But it's tough these times. So they had to make do with what they got. I mean,
Yeah.
we all pretty much knew either way if they had Drew Lock or that guy, it was pretty much the Saints game, anyways.
I don't have enough faith in Drew Lock. I don't say what's amazing about him. It's like Herbert for the Chargers. The Chargers suck, and they always have. And I don't get it. But the playoffs will be interesting with all the COVID stuff and all these teams. Because I was watching this guy on Twitch last night. And I had to agree with him because he was saying how the NFL playoffs, the season, it's kind of level on both sides. Besides, the Steelers going undefeated, but it'll be really interesting to see how this winds up in the next few weeks into the playoffs.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. It'll be interesting, say, like, you throw Kansas City in there, obviously, and then, a big player, say, like Travis Kelce, gets the virus, and then now if the NFL, do you have them play that big playoff game or that Super Bowl game, or do you postpone it for 2 weeks to make sure the playing field is even? There's going to be a lot of criticism each way.
How about, speaking of Kansas City, how about that? The top 3 leaders in receiving are DK Metcalf for Seattle, I think Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce. Kansas City has 2 receivers in the top 3 for receiving. So I think there's a good chance that they win it again this year.
Oh, yeah, I like their chances a lot. But you never know, you know?
Now I want to switch to a little entertainment, our favorite topic, entertainment. I'm going to share my screen right now. And let's see if this works on a desktop, and then share. Open preferences. This is going to be great. All these settings are going to show up. Let's do this. Allow that. Oh, that's great. So I can't share screen. So I'm going to play a video, and if you can hear it, just listen. We'll talk about it after. So here's the first video. Can you hear it?
Unfortunately, no, I cannot.
Well, it was we can always do it another time because I'm not going to do this now. But I had some clips for the show on this, but kind of does away with what I'm trying to do, since I'd have to quit and then redo this. But what I want to talk about is our favorite genre of movies. And Rob, share with the people watching what our favorite genre to talk about movies is.
Oh my God, pretty much anything with Robert De Niro or Joe Pesci, anything like that. The gangster movies, Godfather, Casino,
Goodfellas,
you name it. Goodfellas.
As they say, ever since I can remember, I always wanted to be a good fella. Then it starts playing Frankie Valley.
Oh yes.
But I think though by far the best and our favorite and most talked about thing at the water cooler is that Vice scene.
Oh my God. That scene.
I forget the guy's name. I think it was Chucky's. Joe Pesci. Remember, Joe Pesci says to the guy, "Chucky, I'm putting your hair in a fucking vice now. You better tell me what I'm doing. I'm gonna squeeze your fucking head like a melon." And that's always a staple at work when I say I'm gonna put him through a vice, or I'm gonna vice you real quick. And
for Charlie M.
Yes, Charlie M. Tell me the name, Charlie M. You motherfucker. What is this, Charlie M? Who is Charlie M? And he squeezes and squeezes till his great shaped looking head pops. What do you think the interest and amazement and wonder is in Joe Pesci, and why he's such a memorable and often quoted character actor?
I think he just stands out in all those movies with Robert De Niro. He plays this guy with little man syndrome who has a really, really short fuse. And it's pretty much his dynamic through all the movies. And I personally like that a lot. I think he's a great character. I think he does a great job in all his movies. So he always stands out to me. I always enjoy watching his movies, no matter what role he's in, even in Home Alone when he's not like that.
Um, no, who can't love Home Alone? But I think with Joe Pesci is though, and a lot of those actors, um, Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, who looks awful, who's on the Chantix commercial. My name's Ray Liotta, and I've been using Chantix. Looks like he's got plastic surgery, but they all know guys in the mafia, so they all know how to perfectly act, and that's what they good at. And the thing is, though, I think though Robert De Niro is well versed in other roles compared to the others. But I think Joe Pesci, he could swear a million times. All he could do was swear, and people would love him because he's such a hothead freak that acts all tough and is all word and action, just like when he kills Frank Vincent's character Billy Bass in the bar where he says, "Go get your shine box, kid," and he beats the living hell out of him. He cuts him like a fish with his mother's butcher's knife. And it's sort of like Liam from Camp, where he's a small person, but he acts tough, and he brings a giant presence to it, and you're so captivated by him and his roles and what he does because you can't get enough of him. Even in the extremely long, overly long movie being why am I forgetting the name of it? He was just in with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino on Netflix. It was like 3 hours long. Why am I forgetting the name?
Is that the one where they go to prison and they're old?
Yeah, I'm forgetting the name of it.
I'm drawing a blank too, but I know what you're talking about.
Even with that movie though, he was so amazing in it because he could play it so well. And he was aging. I mean, obviously he's not a spring chicken anymore, but he was able. I think personally that was one of his better roles because he played it so well and so serious. He didn't need to talk that much. He was so quiet and cerebral that he was so perfect for it. And I like the end when Robert De Niro's character, Frank Sheeran, I think his name is, yes, and Joe Pesci's character are in the dining hall area of the prison, and he's like acting like he's part of the wheelchair race where his arm's shaking and he's eating the bread and he can't help it because his false teeth are gonna come out. But he's such an amazing actor, and he can retire now finally fully. I think I told you this. He's a famous singer, Joe Pesci.
Really?
Yes, he played in the movie Cousin Vinny. He came up like a pop rap almost type of album where he sang as Cousin Vinny. Then he came out with a few more albums. So he's also a phenomenal golfer. But now he's really interesting. Compared though to his friend Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci is not that big of a person involving himself, especially recently with politics. You've seen Robert De Niro do that a whole lot, and we've discussed it quite a bit here in the current election and what's going on. And just as they say, and as Uncle Vernon in Harry Potter says, justice has been served. We have prevailed. Sunny days are here again, as Brian Wilson says in his songs. Happy days, and boy, it feels sweet, doesn't it, Rob?
Yeah, it does. It's crazy too because we pretty much thought he was gonna get it, but unfortunately, came back and bit him.
Oh yeah, been right in the giant fucking orange fat ass that Trump has. But I have to agree with you. I was extremely nervous with the results because especially what happened with last election, although it wasn't official. Trump got help, but there were so many people that were corrupted, whether it be from Trump himself and the bullshit he was spewing on Fox News, or his minions and other people who were paid off as actors to speak falsehoods, or his dripping vampire Valerie Giuliani and his eyeball staring self on Fox News saying whatever the hell it was with his false teeth that he's got. And it was so scary because he captivated so many people and promised so much, and people were so like they were praying to him like it was Allah. People were praying to Trump like we prayed to Applebee's. It was just unbelievable, and I was just so sick and tired, especially the last year and a half, 2 years, of all the people we know who went to school with and stuff like that, of people who were just posting stuff that had no merit or correct information towards people that your age that you went to high school with, and it was just so ridiculous. And it's like, what are you doing? Look what this man has done to you. And the thing is, if it was switched the other way, Biden would be the worst person ever. But it's just, I'm so happy, and good days are ahead. We're gonna get a vaccine. More companies are getting out. It's just, it's looking for the country. We're gonna restore our image.
Yeah, it is looking. Everything's looking up so far. Essentially, from what I heard on the radio this morning, um, Dr. Fauci or whatever, and the lead person in charge for Operation Warp Speed said everyone or everything should be pretty much good to go vaccine wise by June or May area. So pretty much over 75% of the population of the US would have taken the vaccine, or it would be available at CVS and Walgreens by then. So
Yeah,
things are looking pretty good.
it's just and I was saying this in my intro for this that I'll be putting together. And I was trying to be comical to a certain extent with making jokes. Trying to be the huge comedian I am on YouTube, especially during the phase of my life where the Kios trolled my account, and made me take it down. But I was saying how it's Trump is a big time bragger, and he's bragging about the virus, the cure, or whatever you want to call it, the shot is out there, and it's all because of him, and he's bragging about the economy. I find it amazing though, after going 1 for 31 in court, worse than Shaquille O'Neal shooting a 3-pointer this past weekend, having Rudy Giuliani, like I said, is dripping zombie vampire as his lawyer this past week. He still thinks that even if he wins this or he doesn't, he's still going to win in 2024. And I find that amazing that he thinks he can win, because he's got the same chance of winning in 2024 as the Browns have a chance at ever winning a Super Bowl in the next 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, he also might be too. I don't know how old he is. I know he's up there, but also depends on his health, I feel like. And also, if a strong Democrat runs against him, like
Oh yeah,
especially someone, say, like, AOC, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so like she's big, like with our generation, and our generation's only getting older. And by then, pretty much a good majority of our generation will be old enough to vote. And say she does run for the Democratic, you know, presidency. She has a lot of support behind her, like a lot of support.
Well, it's also, I mean, there will also be a lot of strong Democrat candidates. I mean, you also got
Oh
Andrew
yeah,
Yang. He'll probably come back. Tulsi Gabbard, the Democratic communist that she is. And you got Vice President Harris that will probably run. But I think he's 73, 74 now. He'll be, in 4 years, he'll be what Biden is now, 77, 78 years old. And his health, he lies about his health. And you could see when he walked down the ramp at the Army graduation, or West Point graduation, that he was struggling to breathe when he came back from the hospital early to the White House. I don't see it. I think it's going to be interesting. Unfortunately, Democrats didn't flip the Senate. That's okay, because they still have the House, and they still have the plastic zombie herself, Nancy Pelosi, leading the Democrats in the House. So it'll be interesting. The free agency will be interesting. NFL season. It's just, and next time when we do this, hopefully I'll have those clips to play, because those will be great to laugh at and react to. But with that being said, I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about anything else on here. But that's what I have on my notes for this episode. Is there anything else you feel like we should discuss here on this episode?
nothing that comes to mind right now, but obviously when I come back, I'll definitely jot down some stuff to be more prepared. But as of right now, we pretty much covered everything mainstream and
Yeah.
stuff that appeals to us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of, it's just this thing. But no, with that being said, I want to, thank you for coming on and being the first guest. This was really great. To have you as the first guest means more than you will know. This podcast, I'll probably upload it Friday, and I'll edit it tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday, and upload it Friday morning, so everyone can do it. And the 6 people who follow the Instagram account, or the 18 people for the Instagram account, and the 9 people who view the story can see it. And my other account, people can skip through seeing it, because not a lot of people watch it. But I'll upload it Friday, and I'll let you know what that. But thank you for coming on. This was great. I had an enjoyable time laughing with you.
Thanks for having me. It was quite an honor to be here.
Of course. So yeah, follow the Instagram account, the Ice Tea and Meme Show with NoLdAwG on Instagram, and the same for Twitter and YouTube. And we'll catch you another time. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
the guest for coming on today. I want to thank you all for watching this great episode. Catch us next week around the same time for another episode of the Ice-T and Meme Show with NoLdAwG. Take care and good night.